Welcome to Dubs Only. It's a beautiful day in the Warriors world right now. This is Tyler. Josh Hall. The Warriors just completed a run through the Western Conference playoffs once again, going back into the NBA Finals, sixth time in 8 years, win 120 to 110. How sweet it is. How sweet
It
is it to be a Warriors fan today?
it brings me so much joy. It it just feels right. The last 3 years have been so hard to of course we always follow the team and support the team, but it's been hard. I feel bad. This is what other franchises have felt like, I guess. But
Yes.
as a Warriors fan, we're not supposed to feel this way.
No.
So the fact we're back and we go undefeated at home through the playoffs. Oh,
Oh, it
it
just it feels like a lifetime ago that they were back in it. Like obviously, I remember right where I was when Clay tore his ACL in Game 6 of the 2019 Finals. But between then and now, like we go through an injury-ridden year. Warriors the bottom seed. Then the pandemic hits. We have the bubble. Warriors aren't there. The Lakers win it. The Warriors aren't even Lakers winning a championship's never great as a Warriors fan, even especially with LeBron on the team. But we have the next season, and then Clay tears his Achilles on draft day. They pick Wiseman. He doesn't do that much. He's in the starting lineup immediately. They're pretty mediocre because they just didn't really build a team around them because they thought Clay would be there. They got Kelly Oubre. They got Kent Bazemore, Michael Mulder, Brad Wanamaker. These a collection of guys that were just so frustrating to watch together. Steph Curry wills them to the play-in game. They lose back-to-back, like just heartbreakers against the Lakers and the Grizzlies. Steph has that famous press conference after the game where he's just like,
you don't want to see us next year.
exactly. And if that
What
doesn't ring
happens?
true today, Warriors are back on top of the Western Conference. And honestly, it's a surprise and it's not a surprise at the same time for me because you and I, we know what this team is capable of. We saw it tonight when they were just guns a blazing. But
You
it's beautiful. It's so awesome, and especially with Clay playing the way he did tonight, just makes it so much more meaningful too. Like we are fucking back.
you could see the joy on all like the key players, like the vets, like on their faces, like at the end, and when they were getting the trophy, just like they couldn't stop smiling and like laughing and like be like, and
Yeah,
it's like it's that holy shit we're back moment. And
yeah.
I think all of Dub Nation you who has like watched this team for however many years, you could go back generations of Warriors fans. Like if you're a Warriors fan, you can't help but not be giddy.
Oh
Like
man, I'm so giddy, man. It's just like watching the little post game ceremony too. Sean Livingston being the guy to
shout
like
out Sean
return. Oh
Livingston.
man, yeah, he looks like he's right where he belongs. Center court, Chase Center. Oh, it's so nice. Stephen Curry takes home the Irvin Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals Most Valuable Player Award. The
I
most
sort of have beef with that.
what with Steph winning?
I think it should have gone to Looney or Wiggins.
I could have seen it
That
going to Wiggins for sure.
that's just like Curry played phenomenally, right? Like nothing away from Steph. But Steph is Steph. We expect that from him. In all like game 5, not his greatest game, you know, assisted, moved the ball, they got the win. But Looney, 18 rebounds tonight, right?
7 offensive rebounds.
7 offensive rebounds. For the series, he probably averaged over 12. I
He
don't
was a
know the numbers.
monster. He
He
was
was
a
a
monster.
monster, a key piece. And like, you can't forget about Wiggins either. I mean, Luka got his, and that's his primary matchup, right? So, like, you can't, like, It's not like he was shut down, but Andre Iguodala won the Finals MVP for shutting down LeBron, and LeBron still had like 36 that series.
Yeah,
So
that Finals MVP has aged okay since then. I go back and I watch the highlights of that series, and you're just like, how does Steph not win MVP for this? When he's crossing over Dellavedova, hitting those wing 3-pointers back to back. Come on. But that's kind of the way I saw this vote going too. Was like you can always give a Wiggins or a Looney the MVP for a series like this for the Warriors because they step up and they do better than what they're expected to do. But this is Steph Curry's team. And Steph
right.
Curry played really well and he averaged like 27 points a game. And tonight, yeah, he didn't play, up to his standards. He shot 5 for 17. Honestly, surprised to even see that he took 17 shots. He was like 1 for 2 or 2 for 4 or something like that in the first half. But he had 9 assists. He was a positive on the court the entire time. Obviously, if it was a Game 5 MVP, it's Klay Thompson. That guy just balled out tonight, and it was beautiful to watch. And you're right. It could have gone to those other guys, and Wiggins played great. And it's such a nice sign looking forward to the finals of like Wiggins is going to be capable of guarding a Jason Tatum or a Jimmy Butler and searching for his own offense on the other end of the court too. He was attacking the basket, he was getting to the free throw line and making his free throws, which is a big plus for him too. Don't see that too often.
The Warriors did not miss a free throw this game, which was huge. They went 100% from the line, and that's with Wiggins and Draymond shooting free throws.
True, and 2 of those were Draymond holding his wrist in pain, so it was not bad. Draymond had a really nice game too.
Probably the best game we've seen from him, maybe the entire playoffs. I mean, when you're talking about a complete game, not just a defensive masterpiece. I mean, he had 17 points.
You don't expect 17 points out of Draymond anymore. He exceeded the bill. He even hit a 3-pointer. I saw some stat. It was like the Warriors are like 15-1 or something like that when Draymond hits a 3. Does that mean that he's only hit 16 threes in a game? It's only been 16 threes. But oh man.
Another stat, Draymond Green has more playoff career 3-pointers than Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
So is Draymond the GOAT? I think so.
You can make an argument for it. I mean, and speaking of that kind of conversation, I saw a lot of ESPN clips on YouTube today of like, hey, if Steph Curry wins a ring and he wins the Finals MVP, how close is he to LeBron? And I don't want to engage in that kind of debate right now because like they're both awesome players. Can't it'll never happen in sports media, but can't we just like not compare players to each other? Because Steph is one of those guys who puts the team in front of himself, which is totally rare, especially in this era. And it's like, I don't care about the individual awards. I just want those rings. And the number one argument that those pundits are using against Steph is, oh, well, where is his Finals MVP? I think deep down, Steph might want one and he might deserve one. But the rings are what matter most. And we see that in the team tonight, celebrating after the win with the Oscar Robertson trophy, hoisted above him, saying the job is not done. Like, this is we're going to celebrate tonight, but this is not the goal. We still have 4 more wins to go, and it only gets harder from here.
And we got to soak it up. We can look towards the finals in a couple of days or whenever the Eastern Conference Final Series is done. But I think we got to kick our feet up, relax, recover, get Otto Porter healthy, give Gary Payton some more time.
Andre
Iguodala.
They could all be back for the finals. They could all be back. The Warriors could finally be at full strength for the NBA Finals. What the hell is going on?
But okay, so if they do come back, right, it's fantastic. We have that depth. But then Otto Porter comes back in. There's no more minutes for JK, and it really limits Belly's minutes.
Yeah, but we
Gary
saw
Payton
that
comes back.
already.
Gary Payton comes back. That's no more Moody minutes. Andre Iguodala comes back. That cuts into Otto Porter's and Gary Payton's minutes. Maybe, you know, Steve's going to have his options, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but what I loved tonight was seeing like Moody and Belly get like key clutch minutes in this game, and that it really sealed the deal. And so I love having the options, and I've loved watching Otto Porter in these playoffs. I think he's been like the most key play, one of the most key players for the
Oh yeah.
Warriors. But you know, depth comes with sacrifices.
Yeah, a lot of changes tonight. I think it was part of that fourth quarter run in game 4 where that bench unit cut the lead from 29-8. That really saw a shift in, who can be impactful in this series. And there was a quote from Steve Kerr tonight talking about Bielitsa. And he said, if I were smarter, I would have played him earlier in the series. Those minutes were huge. And honestly, Bielitsa totally surprised me tonight. All season long, I've been watching this guy on the defensive end, just letting people blow right by him. He looks like a Chris Paul traffic cone out there. And he stayed in front of Luka for the most part. Luka, he's going to win that matchup 10 times out of 10. But you don't like going into the series. If I put out a tweet earlier, like if you had told me that there was going to be a Luka stopper, never would I have said, yeah, put Nemanja Bjelica out there. He'll take care of business.
If you look at it now, right now that we've seen it, it sort of makes sense. Maybe that's just because we've seen it now. But Luka isn't a quick player. He's a slow player. Like there's that one viral clip of Luka trying to fake out Looney and Looney just being like too slow to bite on it.
Yeah.
Right. It's sort of that same thing where like Belly is just not quick enough to bite on Luka's moves because Luka's not that quick in general. But it worked, and I'm happy it worked. I mean, he put up big numbers, 5.6 rebounds, I think 2 or 3 assists. It was key minutes.
Yeah. He had a nice clutch 3-pointer too. Like off of 2 offensive rebounds, kick out, Bielitsa, deep 3, nothing but net. It was like, oh yeah. Like you knew the game was going our way. That was nice to see. It'll be tough to tell how many minutes he gets in the finals, because for the most part he's been out of the rotation for the last couple of series, and I haven't felt like he's been a missing piece to this puzzle. But it's all about tinkering and it's all about matchups. And this particular matchup, Bielitsa was pretty good. If it was against Jason Tatum, I don't think Bielitsa would stand nearly as strong as he did in this one. But there's a lot of pieces, and if the Warriors come back healthy, wrapping my head around GP2 potentially coming back into this, huge, would be freaking huge.
He is the bench Draymond energy guy. I struggle with comparisons because his role is so weird.
Totally.
He's basically a center in a point guard's body.
Mm-hmm.
But he just brings that energy, enthusiasm, intensity to the court and to the bench rotation. And when you look at what he could have done at this series and what he could potentially do in the finals, you need that defensive mastermind who can take any matchup.
And that's kind of what the Warriors will be getting if these guys come back healthy. OPJ has been more consistent on offense, so we'll give him his credit for that. But Andre and GP2, are smart players who can contribute to like moving the ball around and playing that warrior style of offense that's been really successful, but they're even more impactful on defense. And having those guys going up against Miami or Boston will be really, really nice. Really nice for the Warriors because they haven't had like they've been relatively thin. And tonight they played for the most part 7 players, including Bielitsa, who's had 22 minutes. Like off of the bench, it was Poole 28 minutes, Bielitsa 22, Moody 11, and then garbage time minutes for the rest of the guys. So Moody wasn't in the rotation at all until a couple of nights ago, and he has totally taken the place of Damian Lee, and I'm happy for it.
I think we thought it was going to be JK minutes, but I'm happy it's Moody because, I mean, he was a steal at 14 in the draft. Young, but plays mature, sort of already knows what his game is. And he's just got to adjust a little bit to the NBA game just to be a little bit more physical, be a little bit more careful with the ball.
Right.
But he's a plug and play 3-and-D, basically, at this point, after his first year, in his first year.
I mean, he's everything that the Warriors need Damian Lee to be, but Damian Lee can't do it.
But he's like 9 years younger and more athletic.
He just seems to be in the right place. And on the defensive end too, like we saw him being that one-on-one defender at the top of a box and one on Luka Doncic, one of the toughest assignments you can get in the NBA. And, you know, Luka's unstoppable, but he held his own. So I totally predict more minutes from him in the finals. And I'd love to see more of Kuminga, you know, now that you mentioned him. But he's one of those guys who kind of comes in those situational roles. I always kind of call for him when the Warriors are struggling to get baskets, like just kind of getting into that lethargic style of offense. Sometimes when the Mavs went on that run in the third quarter and the Warriors were just kind of coming up with empty possession after empty possession, I don't think that was the right time for Kuminga. And it's tough to say because this far in, when the games matter the most, it's hard to trust a 19-year-old rookie. But I would not be shocked to see Kuminga get in some minutes. But if you had to play a rookie, it's going to be Moody right now.
You have the wing experience. You don't have that guard depth. You don't, as long as GP2 is out and Damian Lee is playing like a garbage can, right? You need Moody to step in. You don't really need Kuminga if Belly is playing well, if Otto Porter is healthy, if Iguodala is able to come back. Kevon Looney is an MVP candidate.
Oh, yeah, he is.
You know, you don't need JK necessarily. So I think Warrior fans want to see JK because he was our top draft pick. Has crazy bounce and is fun to watch. We haven't had somebody with his raw athleticism in a long time. So, you know, we want to see him on the court. But with what we have right now, it's not necessary for him to get those minutes.
No, but he's a really nice piece to have. The Warriors have pieces. They're deep. If they can come back fully healthy, get those 3 guys off the bench back in, they're gonna have options, which is really nice when you're in a competitive series like this NBA Finals is shaping up to be. And what I'm really excited about too is that this entire series against Dallas, Klay Thompson was struggling. Like he was not hitting his shots. They were coming up short, getting beat on defense too. And his defense is still a bit of a concern for me. He's just not the same lockdown guy as he was before. And you don't expect that. It's unfair because he's coming back from 2 serious injuries. But for him to see those baskets go in, hit 8 threes tonight, score 32 points, lead the team, that's big momentum wise for his own like mental sake. Klay's not going to stop shooting. We know who Klay is at this point. But it's just good. It's just good. The Warriors starting lineup is so strong right now. Wiggins has been playing great. Clay has momentum going for him. Looney's gobbling down every offensive rebound. Draymond's making plays and getting stops on defense. And then, oh yeah, we have Stephen Curry. It's not so bad. The Warriors are looking good against either matchup so far that they can get in the finals. And it's going to be I think it's going to be their toughest opponent yet. But the Warriors are looking like a force right now. And if I'm them, I'm feeling pretty good. They took care of business first. They have home court no matter who they play. And since they haven't lost a game at Chase Center yet, it's really not a bad position to be in.
No, it's exciting. It's exciting to be back. It's exciting to watch this team play good basketball, because there was times during this regular season that they just didn't play good basketball. And I think, we'll of course focus on diving into whatever matchup it is more, but a significant part of the season that sticks out to me is that Florida road trip where they get blown out by Orlando and then beat the best team at that time in Miami. And that sealed home court advantage for the finals. Like that, like you look back and you're just like, oh my God, at that time, did we ever think that we would be in the finals and that we would beat the Miami Heat after getting destroyed by the Magic? No, there was none of that was running through my mind. And the fact that win seals home court advantage as the 3 seed against a 1 or a 2 seed, oh, phenomenal.
I was at that game against the Magic. Tough, just tough loss. That it may be the Warriors' worst loss of the season, their lowest of the lows. And it was a loss for me too, because I had like upper level seats and I decided to like try to sneak into the bottom level before the game. And it was great. Through the first quarter, nobody came. Finally, the ushers like kind of kicked me out. So I had to watch them lose from the nosebleeds. And it's been all uphill since then for the most part. That was when Curry was hurt, but it was when Poole began his run of 20-point consecutive games with 20 points. It's been a roller coaster of a season. And, that's a cliche, but it really has. Warriors haven't been fully healthy. They start off by Christmas, they were tops in the West, beating the Suns after Otto Porter hits multiple clutch shots in Phoenix without Wiggins, without Poole. Fantastic win. And then Draymond gets hurt. Warriors start kind of going 500. Klay Thompson comes back. And then Steph gets hurt. They have 11 minutes together for the whole regular season. They're forced to have to figure it out during the playoffs. And so far they have. They've answered the bell every time.
Look at that.
Hey.
We go from thinking the season is lost to being the Western Conference champs.
It is so nice to be back on top of the West. 6 times in the last 8 years. And it's funny, like obviously these last 2 seasons count, of course they do, but it was really like that 2020 season was kind of like a break. Draymond was out there, but like not really caring. Clay had the ACL, Steph had the broken hand. 2021, mentioned it earlier, no Clay, weird roster. They finally get back to having a more complete roster. Right back in the finals. Like they haven't even missed a beat. Seeing that stat of how Steve Kerr's coach, as a coach, has not lost a single playoff series in the Western Conference is unbelievable. The Warriors are so good. It's mind-boggling because as fans, we are so spoiled and we say it all the time, but just this shit does not happen. It doesn't happen, and we're used to it, and we expect it out of this team because of how great they are and how consistently they prove that they are capable of making it this far winning championships and competing at an incredibly high level. It's unfair. Like the expectation on this team, they weren't championship level going into the season. It was Bucks, it was Lakers, it was Nets. Those are the teams to beat. Doesn't matter. Warriors are healthy. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, if they start every game in a series, they're still undefeated through to this date right now in 2022. It's been 7 years since their first championship. 7 years. We were in high school. Were you at BJ's that night when we watched them win the championship? 2015?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, that's such a high school thing for us, you know? And now we're both living in different states, grown up, but growing up with this team just in our back pockets, consistently there. It's so familiar to us, and it's just beautiful. How lucky are we?
They'll be putting this clip, this podcast in the 30 for 30 or the documentary, whenever they're making it, because they're going to have to do something like this, like they did with the Bulls, right? Like, this is our last dance. We're living through the greatest run in modern basketball.
And who knows what's to come? We have
Who
Poole,
knows?
we have Kuminga, we have Wiseman.
And Curry, Klay, and Draymond aren't that old. Like, they're getting up there, but they still have a lot of good basketball left.
Just think about the genius, like if it works and the Warriors win this championship, of actually combining that compete now and build for the future and still win a championship. Unreal. Like, how could they pull that off? It's not like when the Spurs did it, because that's when Kawhi was literally the NBA, the finals MVP. This is different. Who knows what's going to happen? But my gosh, we are lucky, Josh Hall. We are lucky. And we have so much more we can talk about. And there's so much more to figure out about who the Warriors will play and what these matchups are going to look like and what they'll really need to do to secure these last 4 wins. There's a long way to go. And there's another 6 days of torture where we don't have Warriors basketball. We might have to watch another horrendous game between the Heat and the Celtics. But we're sitting pretty. We're waiting.
We can kick our feet up, relax, and just fill the scouting report and dominate the matchups, whoever it is.
Oh, man. And I can't wait to discuss all of it with you soon.
Very soon.
But for now, the Warriors are the Western Conference champions once again. Steph Curry is the MVP of the series, the first in NBA history. Does your GOAT have an Irvin Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals Most Valuable Player award?
No, he doesn't. So.
More Dubs Only is coming soon. Josh Hall, thanks for joining. We are back in the finals. Let's go Warriors. Let's get this championship. Warriors.
Dubs only here on out.
Peace.
Deuce.